He told the world I was 72. Locked me away in an old age home. But I wasn't old. I was building my comeback. And when I returned, I took everything back, including my name. My name is Salma, and I'm 49 years old. I built my life brick by brick alone. After my husband passed away when I was 28, I raised my only son, Denial, with everything I had: love, time, money, and sacrifice. I didn't remarry. I didn't complain. I built a thriving boutique chain across Lahore and Islamabad, and everything I owned, from my business to the home we lived in, was in my name. Or so I thought. It started subtly. Denial became more distant. He stopped calling me Amy with affection, and instead started using a tone I couldn't quite place: cold, transactional. I chalked it up to stress. He had married a girl named Farwa the year before, and although she was polite to my face, I always felt like an unwanted shadow in my own home. One rainy morning, Denial told me he had a surprise health checkup planned for me. He said it was a new senior wellness program his friend's clinic offered, and it would include a short stay, just to monitor my health. I hesitated. Denial, I'm under 50. Why would I need something like that? He smiled. It's just a formality, Amy. You've been tired lately. Let's just do it for peace of mind. That was the last day I stepped into my own home. The place they took me to wasn't a clinic. It was a private, underfunded old-age care facility an hour outside the city. The staff looked at me like I was confused. One of the nurses said, "She's the new 72-year-old with mild dementia, right?" I blinked. Excuse me. The nightmare unfolded fast. Denial had signed documents declaring me mentally unfit, falsified my age to 72, claimed I had episodes, and in the span of a few days, all my accounts were frozen. My property and business were legally transferred under the power of attorney I had stupidly signed the year before, trusting my only son. I remember screaming, crying, and begging for someone to listen. But the staff had already been warned that I might act out. Every time I protested, it only proved the fake diagnosis in their minds. I was trapped. The room I was placed in had no windows, just peeling paint and the stench of damp carpet. I wasn't even allowed a cell phone. Days turned to weeks. I wasn't crazy, but the silence, the neglect, the betrayal, it started to chip away at my sanity. But I didn't break, because something else sparked inside me during those long, quiet nights. Rage. Focus. Revenge. I promised myself, if I ever walk out of this place, I won't knock. I'll take everything back, louder than the silence they left me in. For 3 months, I played the part of the defeated old woman. I stopped protesting. I stopped correcting the staff when they called me nanny. I ate quietly, folded my shawl perfectly every day, and smiled like I had no memory of betrayal. Because now I understood, if I wanted out of this cage, I had to stop banging on the door and quietly find the key. That key came in the form of Nasima Baji, a frail widow who had lived at the care home for 4 years. She was sharp, talkative, and curious about me from the first day. "You don't look 72, she whispered once, raising her gray brow. "You walk like someone who still wears heels." I laughed softly. "I used to. Red ones." She became my confidant. Over late-night chai and whispered conversations, I told her everything: my boutique empire, Denial's betrayal, the lies. She was horrified, and then surprisingly helpful. "You need to call someone who believes you. Someone outside. But you'll need proof first," she said one night, glancing at the security camera in the corner. "They watch everything. But they don't see everything." We made a plan. Step 1 was convincing the young janitor, Samir, who often hummed film songs while mopping the halls. I started talking to him about my boutique line, describing designs, stitching styles. Eventually, I noticed a spark in his eyes. His mother, it turned out, had once bought a bridal dress from my flagship store in Islamabad. That's when I said it plainly. "Samir, they trapped me here. I'm not crazy. I'm not 72. My son lied." His mop froze mid-swipe. He didn't believe me at first, but curiosity made him agree to help. He smuggled in a phone. I used it to record a full video, stating my real age, showing my ID copy, which I'd hidden in my old wallet, and describing how my son forged my power of attorney. Then came the hard part, sending it to someone I could trust. And there was only one name. Mihar. My old assistant, who now runs one of my stores. A loyal woman I once trained like a daughter. I texted her from an anonymous number. Mihar, it's me. Salma. Watch this. Don't call. Just act. 3 days later, everything changed. I was pulled into the facility director's office. For the first time, there was fear in their eyes. There's a legal team asking questions. Media too. We're, verifying some things. Mihar had gone public. She had posted my video on social media, and it went viral. Thousands of women were commenting, sharing, screaming. News channels picked it up. Businesswoman declared dead by her own son returns from the shadows. And suddenly, I wasn't a senile woman anymore. I was dangerous. And I was freeing myself, one proof at a time. The day I walked out of that old age home, the staff didn't dare make eye contact. Cameras followed me. Reporters asked me how it felt to be back. But I didn't speak. Not yet. Because I wasn't done. I went straight to Mihar's apartment. The moment she opened the door, she threw her arms around me and sobbed. "We all thought you died, Amy. He said you were too sick to talk to anyone. He even sent out a fake condolence letter." I was numb. But now I had fire in my bones. "I'm not just alive," I whispered. "I'm taking back everything." We spent the next few weeks gathering evidence. Mihar had saved all the documents Denial had sent after he took over, including a forged medical report stating I had early dementia and memory loss. He had my fake signature on the transfer of power of attorney. Worse, he had liquidated 2 of my boutiques and sold off one of my apartments. He thought he had erased me. Instead, he had documented every piece of his crime. Meanwhile, the internet exploded with my story. The video had crossed 1 million views. Women's rights groups reached out. TV anchors invited me. And silently, I was building my case. But Denial still didn't know I was out. So I made sure he found out the way it would hurt the most. The next week, I bought back one of my flagship boutique properties, the one he had so proudly sold off under Mihar's name. And then, I rebranded it. Salma's Return written in bold, gold letters across the front glass. The opening event was streamed live. Denial watched it on his office TV. The man who claimed I had mental decline now saw me standing in heels, in a crimson suit, surrounded by applause. I didn't flinch when the cameras zoomed in. I wanted him to see. I wanted him to choke on every lie he told. The next day, his lawyer called me. "You can't prove he meant to defraud you. He thought you were ill." I cut him off. "Oh, we're past legal games. I'm taking him to court. And to the court of public opinion." I filed a lawsuit for fraud, elder abuse, and property theft. The story went national. My face was on every news outlet. And Denial? He went underground, hiding from cameras, deleting his social media, and desperately trying to clean his tracks. But it was too late. He gave me 6 months in silence. I used every second to sharpen my revenge. Now, I wasn't coming to speak. I was coming to bury his reputation with the truth. The courtroom buzzed with murmurs. Reporters packed the gallery. My lawyer whispered, "Are you ready?" I gave him a slow nod. "I've waited 6 months for this." Denial walked in, dressed in a designer suit, but he looked smaller. Paler. Like a man walking into his execution. The judge took her seat. "We're here for the civil hearing of Salma S. versus Denial S. on charges of elder fraud, medical forgery, and property theft." When the prosecution began laying out the evidence, I didn't look at Denial. I looked at the crowd. The other women were watching. The ones who've been told they're too old, too weak, or too emotional. This wasn't just for me anymore. They presented the forged documents. My age is listed as 72 on a fake medical file. A signed power of attorney document dated just days after my supposed diagnosis. Property deeds with falsified signatures. And then, the video. The footage from the old age home. Of me in a crumbling room, begging to speak to my daughter. Of staff saying my son told them not to let me use the phone. Of me staring dead into the camera saying, "My name is Salma." I am 49. And I am not crazy. The courtroom gasped. Denial's face drained of color. His lawyer objected, claiming the footage was emotional manipulation. But the judge allowed it. Then it was my turn to speak. I walked to the stand in silence. Stared straight ahead. I built my brand from a kitchen table. I opened my first store with one sewing machine. I made millions, but I never made a will. Because I never thought my son would treat me like a liability. My voice cracked, but I didn't stop. He called me senile. He said I was delusional. All because he wanted to take everything and didn't want to wait for me to die. Gasps again. Some from the public, some from the jury. I wasn't mad that he wanted my property. I was mad he threw me away like garbage to get it. When I stepped down, Denial looked up at me, and I swear I saw tears. But I wasn't moved. The verdict came swiftly. The court finds the defendant guilty of all charges. Power of attorney revoked. All assets are to be returned to the plaintiff. A public apology must be issued, and the defendant will face charges for fraud and elder abuse in criminal court. I didn't blink. I just breathed. Outside the courthouse, cameras swarmed me. "How do you feel?" one reporter shouted. I finally smiled. He put me in a place he thought I'd rot in. But I bloomed instead. And now, I own the story.